Project labor agreements, here's what happened. In 1987, if you may recall, we had the Whittier Narrows earthquake. The damage to City Hall was tremendous. The decision to renovate this historical building was approved by the council. The project was running 24/7 for 3 years. During the course of renovation, the question came up by then Honorable Councilwoman Rita Walters. How many constituents of this city do we have employed on this project? We took a look at all the payrolls that were submitted by all the contractors, subcontractors, vendors, suppliers on the job. We had individuals from Santa Barbara, San Diego, Ventura, Riverside, San Bernardino. The County of Los Angeles was very underrepresented. Of all the numbers that we put together, less than 2% were constituents of our city. That raised a flag. What can we do to provide greater opportunity to our constituents? What can we do to provide those jobs? Project labor agreements historically have been around for a long time. However, it wasn't until 1987, 1992, and 1994 that we took cognizance of the opportunities that we can provide our constituents. The city has incorporated a project labor agreement which says that the contractor agree to the local hire component, 30% local hire. The project labor agreement is a party between the awarding agency, the contractor, and the unions. It entails that the source of all employment shall be the union, meaning that individuals seeking job opportunities will be funneled through the union and dispatched to the job site. The plan itself today is a condition of all public works contracts. The unions have played a tremendous part in providing not only job opportunities but training through their apprenticeship programs. Currently, our project labor agreements require 20% of all the hours worked on the job be conducted by apprentices. We also have a disadvantage program. These are individuals that's been involved with the justice system, that's been a high school dropout, lacking a GED, an individual who has had part-time work but not full-time. This is not a social program. We'll provide the projects, but you're going to employ and retain through apprenticeship qualified individuals in the city of Los Angeles.
Well, in the beginning, when I started the union, when I joined the union, it was hard because I wasn't getting work constantly. I was working 1 day or 2 days out of the week, almost for a year. It was kind of hard because I wasn't getting my full check of 40 hours a week. I have 3 kids, 3 beautiful kids. You know, the kids be asking for clothes and shoes. So for me, it was really important to put my 40 hours every week so I can count on the money to support my family, pay the bills. A year ago, I got the job from the city of Los Angeles. From there, it was way better because I was there steady for a whole year. I wasn't working for the last 2 months before I started the job, so I was a disadvantaged worker, so that helped me to stay at the job longer. The job that I was working is the Wilmington drain. It's a drain that comes all the way from LA, so we clean it out. We put like big boxes of cement and nets, so when it rains, we can haul all the trash from there. And then we'll fix it up like a little walkway so people can walk from Lomita all the way to PCH, like a little park. They can walk the dogs or walk in the bike. On this Wilmington job, I learned how to use a water truck, how to pour cement, check grading. By learning all these new skills, it's gonna help me get more work on different job sites. In this job, I put a lot of hours. I was at level 2, so from level 2, I went all the way to level 6. So I'm real close to journey out. And when you journey out, you can pay more money, and then you get more benefits. You're a journeyman. I think the project labor agreement, yeah, it was a big help for me for the disadvantage to start working as soon as possible. So that helped me a lot. So for me, it's good. I think for other guys too. They're in the same place that I am. It helps them be in a job steady for a long time. There's a lot of people that are looking for work and then they live in the city. So why not hire the same people from the city to work at the job? And I live in the city of LA, so all the money stays here in LA.
Today, we have well over 64,000 individuals that have been gainfully employed on our project labor agreements. We have well over $90 million that have been reinvested through project labor agreements. There's more local, more disadvantaged workers being hired. I'm honored to say that we are making a difference and we are contributing to the opportunities that we can provide to our constituents. I believe that project labor agreements are an important element in the bidding process here in the city of Los Angeles in allowing competitive bidding. A company that pays prevailing wages, pays taxes, pays workers' comp, and pays the benefits to the worker. And so this process allows the system, the city, the state and the federal government to be the recipient of those funds that are due them. Project labor agreements are an opportunity for the contractor to embrace qualified workers that meet the criteria for the betterment of service to the people. The benefits are attributed to the community, the worker, the contractor, the city, the state, and the federal government. The community benefits because the money is reinvested back into the community. A person living in the city of Los Angeles, of course, they're going to go out and purchase groceries, goods, and other things that they need, and yes, that tax money is going to come back into the system. The worker benefits from receiving the prevailing wage and benefits that he or she is rightfully due. The contractor benefits by having the work done in a timely manner. In some cases, we see where projects are completed before schedule. Project labor agreements, to me, are a meaningful source of employment, retention, career base, and a reinvestment of our funds, both local, state, and federal. It started here with the Department of Public Works. This department itself was the lead agency to incorporate project labor agreements and embrace the opportunities of providing jobs to our constituents. And being a part of that team is the greatest feeling. It's a win-win for the city, for the agencies, for the people.
The Bureau of Street Services is responsible for street maintenance, and what that entails is resurfacing. We also do small asphalt repairs, which is what we're doing here today. The program that I'm running, the Neighborhood Council Initiative, it's also known as the Neighborhood Council Blitz. It's a program put together in collaboration with the mayor's Back to Basics to target more of the repairs that need to be addressed. The difference between what we do on this program as opposed to our everyday is that twice a year we concentrate just in the neighborhood council boundaries. We have a smaller geographical area, so we're able to do things that are more in line with what is important to that neighborhood council itself. The city is so diverse, not only in its people, but its area, its landscape. You know, you have flatlands on one side and mountains on the other, and all neighborhoods have different issues that need to be addressed. What my job entails is contacting the neighborhood councils via email and letting them know, we're going to be in your neighborhood on this day. Give me your top 15 locations that you would like me to look at. My advice is, select places where most people are going to be impacted. For example, schools, hospitals, places of worship. Once they give me their locations, I go out and I inspect them, and I determine how many of the locations we can actually do in one day. So we have a 2-person crew, approximately 4 tons of asphalt, and we put down as much as we can. Today we're in Atwater Village, and this is a location that the neighborhood council asked for us to look at. We're going to be doing a skin patch, asphalt over concrete, and it's an uneven surface. In some sections it's about 1 inch, 2 inches above grade. The gentlemen on the crew, Mr. Marcus Miles and Ralph Mendoza, they've already put the tack down. They're going to put asphalt to fill in the gap. They're going to work it, put it where it needs to go, and then they're going to run a compactor to make sure that it adheres and compacts. And that should help smooth out the area. It should last several years.
AIDA contacted us asking if we had street areas, sidewalk areas, and curb areas that needed minor repair. And myself and another council member, we rode around our entire neighborhood council area looking for spots that could use some repair. So we listed those, we set them by priority, and we let her know, and about 2 weeks later, this is what we have.
We've had a lot of people really get involved, really get into it.
Well, it certainly helps to streamline the process, and it certainly lets us know that it will be taken care of.
It also makes the neighborhood councils feel empowered, knowing that their voices are being heard.
I think it's good and a good practice to reach out to the neighborhood councils because we cover the entire city of LA, and it helps to give people a voice.
It feels like someone somewhere is looking.
When you look at damage on the street, the first thing you think of is it's a pothole. But sometimes it might be an old service cut with, say, a water line under it that's still leaking. So it would go to water and power as opposed to us. We're able to give the residents answers. We can refer the residents to our coordinating section, which lets the community say, okay, well, at least we know it's coming, or we know the status, or what other steps we can take, and that's where referring them to the appropriate department, bureau, a different section really helps them out. In such a big city, sometimes it's kind of difficult to figure out, well, who do I call? It's on the street. It has to be street services. If it's just asphalt that has failed, broken, cracked due to age, wear, then that would be something that we would repair. Services can be requested by calling 311, where you speak to an operator, or using smartphone apps, MyLA 311, or the Bureau of Street Services also has their own app, LABSS.
Well, I think it's great because it's a small step. It's a small conscious step that the city is doing to do something that doesn't take a lot to do.
Any kind of positive attention to our area is greatly, greatly appreciated.
We've had a positive response from the neighborhoods. We had people stop by, give us a thumbs up.
I know these neighbors, when they get home from work today, they will be so glad that their street has been repaired.
I'm Bob Potter with the Bureau of Sanitation, Wastewater Collection System Division. I'm the operations manager for the sewer section and currently manage the entire sewer system for LA. We are responsible for 6,800 miles of pipe. On top of that, we have about another 1,700 miles of storm drain pipe that we maintain. The sewer system is basically the freeway or the highway of sewage all the way to the treatment plants. There's over 100,000 connections that lead to our sewer. Every house has a connection. All the connections drain to a street main, and those mains continue down until they reach our treatment plant. Our responsibility in wastewater is to ensure that all that sewage remains in that pipe all the way to its final destination. Environmental impact is our biggest concern. We do not ever want to see it on the streets or in a riverway or anywhere but in the pipe. On a constant basis, we're monitoring our systems. We use closed circuit television review of our pipes. We CCTV 500 or more miles of pipe every year to assess the system. In the case of where we do have a problem in the line that causes a blockage, once we have identified it, then we do some more intense review of it. We look at the CCTV, we find out the cause of the problem, and then we find a solution to it so that we can ensure that the pipes will remain running the entire time.
Within our scope of cleaning and maintaining our sewers, we encounter a lot of different anomalies, such as concrete in lines, slurry, and protruding laterals. And what a lateral is a pipe that comes from the house that introduces private sewage into the mainline sewers.
Or we'll find construction material that's been, through the building of a new sewer line or through illegal dumping or whatever, will end up in our pipe that we'll have to remove. The methods that we've always employed in the past were that it was a dig and replace. So that meant we would have to cut the street, dig a trench, go down and remove the old pipe and replace it with a new pipe, and then repair up to the street level. We started looking into methods that were less invasive and more convenient, not only for us, but for the public. So in the course of that research, we found high-tech nozzles that spin at high speeds that we can attach tools to that work like hole saws that could remove some of the debris or laterals that were intruding. It's done from one maintenance hole to the next maintenance hole without any construction above. It's been a pilot program, but for the last 5 years, been honing that. It's changed the game for us. An average construction job would take a day to 2 days to dig up, replace, and repair. This job takes 2 to 3, 4 hours at the most to do the same work. When you look at what we purchased the equipment for, the cost to do a standard repair is equivalent to one piece of equipment, but we're able to do hundreds of jobs with that one piece of equipment and have reduced the impact on the day-to-day life of the people and residents of LA by not having to dig up streets that have just been repaired or just been paved and to keep them intact.
There's been a significant change in the type of pipes that are introduced to the sewers. It used to be where it was hardened clay pipe or cast iron. But now they're using fiberglass or HDPE pipe or VCP. The difficulty we've been having is that industry would just give us one tool fits all type things, which are basically used to cut concrete and brick. When we used to cut out some of the hardened pipes, this worked pretty good. What we've been finding is that it doesn't work very well with the new type of pipes. And since the industry was not manufacturing anything that would specialize in cutting these new types of pipes, we took it upon ourselves to design and build our own type of cutting tools and introduce the new type of bimetal blades, which really cuts like butter. Where the old style would take us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to cut out this pipe, this now cuts it out in under 5 minutes. A lot of tools don't work on everything. So we've been making new types of tools to cut different things, such as concrete, mineral deposits, slurry, and protruding laterals. A normal city sewer is 8 inches in the inside diameter. Most of the tools that we get through industry are 7 inches in diameter, which doesn't fulfill our requirement of trying to cut it out at 95%. So we have now made larger diameter cans. We have probably about 15 or 20 different new tools that we've introduced to clean sewers, and it allows us to keep the level very high in regards to keeping our sewers clean and reducing our sewer overflows.
As the industry's evolved, the technology has gotten a lot better. We've used these bigger trucks that have hydraulic hoses, which is high pressure water that can drive different tools. That nozzle will enter the pipe, it'll turn on, it'll start spinning and rotating. It'll come down to where the impedance in our pipe is, and it'll start cutting it.
A lot of the cans that industry produces has a closed back on it. Our new cans now have holes in the back, so we have cooling flow. So we're using the existing water in the sewer and the water that we're using to flush out the debris as we're cutting, and also to cool the tool as it's spinning around. And we get a better cut, and we get longevity in the tool also.
Typically the materials used in sewer pipes is clay pipe. Clay pipe is porous, and roots can intrude on it, it can crack, it can break under pressure. Now with technology, we insert this polyvinyl chloride or a PVC liner into the pipe, we blow it up and heat it so it sticks to the pipe. It becomes the new pipe. And then we'll go through with a cutter and cut open all the laterals so that all the residents can drain into our main line. And it's another system that allows us to repair a long distance of pipe without having to dig in the street, reducing the impact on the public.
One of our primary objectives is safety. We used to encounter a lot of hand injuries, so I developed a quick change chuck. It was a very simple little metal piece that went on the end of the rod. And since then, I do not believe that we had another hand injury that we used to have a lot of before. So a lot of our things that we develop too are safety driven. We've had other municipalities come and visit us here at Reseda Yard, and they've seen some of the tools that we use. And we've actually let them take some home with them to test drive. And I get quite a few pictures through like Facebooks and Twitter showing our tools being used in other cities, and for us, it's kind of helping the United Brotherhood of Sewer Workers. We're now driving the industry and not letting the industry dictate to us what we should be using.
If we're not pushing that envelope every day and looking at ways to save money and be more efficient, then we're not doing our job. So we're constantly challenging ourselves to find a better tool and to modify what's on the market to meet our needs. We know we've saved millions of dollars with this program. It's a big savings to the city, and especially in these times when money is tight. This program is a pilot program, but we're seeing the results, and it's going to expand because it not only saves time, it saves money. It's a lot safer to do the work this way, but it reduces the impact on the community. We're not digging in the street. We're not inconveniencing people getting in and out of their driveways or traffic flows. We're able to do it in a short period of time, which is more efficient and cost effective.
The discovery of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch was kind of an accident. In 1997, my marine research vessel was out in the middle of the ocean, about halfway between San Francisco and Hawaii. As a sort of a denizen of the Pacific Ocean, having grown up in and on it, surfing, swimming, diving, sailing. It just sort of rubbed me the wrong way that I couldn't come out on deck and not see some trash item float by. It wasn't big things. I never made an entry in the log saying, oh, we just passed a giant container of debris or a giant island of debris. It was just this experience of, for an entire week, not being able to find a clear spot where there was no object that didn't belong there floating by, whether it was a bottle cap or a shard of plastic. I resolved to come back and measure that area, get a kind of a random sample design and find out how much trash was actually out there. And it was a great shock when we got the results in 1999 that there was 6 times as much plastic floating around out there by weight as there was the available food, the zooplankton that the fish eat. My discovery and the subsequent papers I've written on this phenomenon confirmed the existence of the North Pacific subtropical gyre, hypothesized by Dr. Ebbesmeyer, who was a modeler of surface currents for NOAA. Overall, the pattern is such that it creates a vortex, this kind of toilet that doesn't flush. Now, these central gyres are not trivial. There's North and South Pacific, North and South Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean. They comprise 40% of the world ocean. That's 1/4 of the surface area of the planet is this accumulator for our trash. The crux of the problem is there's no equilibrium being reached where the amount of plastic leaving the system is equivalent to the amount of plastic coming in. It's just adding to what's already there, adding. The ocean is downhill from everywhere. And if anything is on the land, whether it's trash from a park after an event or trash off the road from cars, it's going to either blow or wash into the ocean eventually.
Heal the Bay conducts over 500 beach and creek cleanups every year, and one of the most prevalent items that we find are single-use plastic bags.
All these really thin, lightweight plastic bags will be impossible to keep out of the ocean because they blow. I've seen them up hundreds of feet in the air. I've mistaken them for birds. They're like balloons. They catch the wind and they're very effective at flying around.
When it gets into the waterways, it ends up into the ocean where the marine life ingests it, thinking as a food, and they die from starvation. And it also clogs the storm drains where it causes the flooding, and it causes a blight in the streets or in the fences or in the trees.
Folks at the Department of Public Works and the Bureau of Sanitation are seeing the impacts firsthand. They see these single-use products that are clogging the storm drain system and the catch basins, and they're having to do the removal of these wasteful products.
Plastic is harmful in many ways, and it's creating this new habitat unknown in the natural history of our planet. Those of us who study this problem are calling for a ban on single-use plastics that are getting into the environment, and the ban in Los Angeles on plastic bags will help.
This single-use bag ban in the city of Los Angeles took effect from January 1st, 2014. Under the ordinance, the single-use plastic carry-out bags will be banned from stores who sell groceries. Over 90% of the bags are given at the grocery stores. That's why we have targeted the grocery stores first, and from July 1st, 2014, mini-marts, liquor stores, and small pharmacies. It could be possible later on when we give a report back to the council, they could expand the ban to restaurants or some other retailers also. The ultimate goal of the single-use plastic carry-out bag ban is to make the city's streets as well as the waterways free from the plastic debris. We prepare the environmental impact report, which shows that banning of single-use plastic bags will have a positive impact on the environment.
We'll see less single-use plastic bag litter throughout our communities, so there'll be less urban blight, and then there'll be less of those products heading out into our ocean environment.
It saves the marine life, and economically, it's good for the city as well because it saves money from the street cleaning and the storm drain cleanings. This ordinance will save the taxpayers of the city of Los Angeles millions of dollars. Under the ordinance, there will be a charge 10 cents for paper bags, and Bureau of Sanitation encourage the shoppers to use their own reusable bags.
You know, it's estimated that here in Los Angeles County, there's 6 billion single-use plastic bags that have been handed out every year. And so, you know, every consumer is using somewhere around 500 bags a year. So everyone can make a difference in just bringing their own reusable bag, and that'll slowly start to reduce the number of bags distributed and reduce the number of bags in our environment.
I know before it's harder for me also to change, but for the last 4 years or so, I've been working on this single-use bag ordinance. So I learned my lesson earlier, and when I go shopping, I definitely use reusable bags.
There's many different kinds of styles, and you could even bring a basket or a box.
I prefer canvas myself and cotton reusable bags. I like the feel better. I like the way they fold up better.
I keep about 10 reusable bags in my trunk everywhere I go, and I also keep a smaller bag that wraps up into a ball and I can just fit in my purse. So that way, wherever I go, if it's a supermarket covered by the policy, or even if it's a retailer that's not covered by the policy, I can make a positive change in my shopping decisions. We've seen plastic bag bans throughout the world. Here in California, we have over 100 municipalities that have implemented single-use plastic bag bans. And there's a statewide proposal, AB 270, which is taking this single-use plastic bag ban and applying it statewide. We see Los Angeles a leader on this issue, and we hope that this triggers people's thinking on just becoming more sustainable and doing more reusable products for everything that they use, whether it's a water bottle or a reusable bag.
Take your own cup to the barista, take your own doggy bag to the restaurant. Do something for the environment, do something for yourself. Now we're being driven by climate change and by plastic pollution, two very big pollution problems that are going to require international cooperation and change on a global level. The time is now.